Welcome back, everyone, to the Bears Travel Plays YouTube channel. Today is Monday, September 30th, and we're going to look at the biggest doubleheader of the season in the last regular season games for the Mets and the Braves. The Mets and the Braves tied with 88 wins. The Arizona Diamondbacks also took a win yesterday, so we have ourselves a three-team race with 2 games left between the Mets and the Braves. We're going to be breaking down both these games. I'm going to go one game pick, one player prop for the first game, one game pick, one player prop for the second game. Hope everybody enjoys their Monday, and let's break down some ball. All right, guys, here's a recap from Sunday. We get the sweep on the best bets on the last day of the season. That's how we do it. Yankees -1.5, get 2 in the bottom of the 8th. No Juan Soto, no problem. No Aaron Judge, no problem. 6-4 against the Pirates. They get the job done. Cal Raleigh, home run against the Athletics, called that one. Logan Gilbert, basically a shutout. I think, yeah, he did have a shutout. I think he went 5+ innings, gave up 1 hit in the 5th innings, and they was like, we've seen enough. Get out of there, buddy. We know who you are. Don't hurt yourself. We'll save you for next year. He did give up no runs, 5+ innings, only 1 hit. Matt Chapman, I have him at orange, but it's going to be red. I had him in FanDuel. I didn't see he had a hit, so I went into the thing. I was like, oh, he didn't start. Turns out he had 1 at-bat, and if you put it in FanDuel, that means you don't get anything back, because if you have 1 at-bat, doesn't matter if he starts or comes in the 9th inning in FanDuel, you lose the bet no matter what. So that was a loser. Aaron Judge did not play. And then Commanders and Giants. This one was tough. It was 6-1 in the bottom of the 7th with 2 people on, 1 out. Giants couldn't get anything going after the 1 out. That McGreevy kid, he's pretty good. Only gave up 1 run. I don't know if he went the complete game. I know he went 8+ innings, but he's pretty good. They scored 7 runs, did not go over the 7.5, so that one's a loser. But we went 3-0 on the best bets, 1 on the game pick, 2-0 on the player props. Let's take a look at the doubleheader for Monday. This is going to be a little bit different, a breakdown, a little bit shorter. I'm not going to have the player prop graphic up for you guys. We're just going to give my best player prop for each game. But we're going to go game pick, then player prop, then game pick, then player prop. I'm going to start by telling you guys a scenario. We've got ourselves in baseball right now in the MLB for the perfect amount of chaos possible. This was planned. There's 2 games that got rained out between these 2 teams, so now it's a doubleheader to determine which of these 3 teams in the NL will be the last 2 wildcard spots. The scenario: Atlanta Braves, Mets hold a tiebreaker over the D-backs. The Diamondbacks got a win yesterday. That put them at 89 wins in the season. The Mets, they also won, put them at 88 wins in the season, and the Braves lost, which put them at 88 wins. So the MLB, they did their job. They script these games perfectly. The only way the D-backs can get in is if one of these teams sweeps the other. So if Atlanta wins the first game, Atlanta wins the second game, that means the D-backs get in over the Mets. If the Mets win both games, that means the D-backs get in over the Braves. And of course, if they split, that means the Mets and the Braves get in, and the D-backs are going to be held out. So we're going to talk about game number 1 first. And we don't have the projected starting pitching for the Mets, but we do have the projected starting pitching for the Braves. I'm going to go off the rotation for the Mets players that have pitched recently and players that are supposed to be coming up the rotation. That means it's going to be Tyler McGill on the mound in game number 1, and then Luis Severino on the mound in game number 2. The Braves strategically left Chris Sale out of the series this week, and so he can pitch in that last game of the season. They're going to go with the rookie here, Spencer Schwellenbach, in game number 1. This is going to be like a postseason game. Tensions will be high. The atmosphere is going to be really good for this game. It does suck that both games are going to be in Atlanta, but I'm pretty sure both regular season games were going to be played in Atlanta no matter what. But I do think the Mets are going to be able to get themselves into the playoffs off of this first game. I'm going to take the Mets on the money line for the first play because I just think the nerves for this rookie might just be a little bit too much for him. The Mets, they were able to salvage the season yesterday going up against the Brewers. If they lost that game against the Brewers yesterday, they would have had to sweep the Braves today and potentially need help with the Royals. But the Royals did do their job, took down the Braves on Sunday. I think the Mets are the smart play in the first game because the rookie pitching is a real problem for me. Tyler McGill has also been good for the Mets, especially over the last 6 or 7 games. This is the 4th season with the Mets for Tyler McGill, and over the last 6 games, he's given up 1 run or less in 5 of those 6 games, going between 4 and 6 innings in almost every game. He has a 3.91 ERA and a 1.27 whip, and I just think the Mets are the more desperate team. I think we're going to see them come out with a lot of urgency because they know if they get to the second game and they don't win the first one, that's going to be really tough to win. I think the rookie pitcher on the mound for the Braves is going to screw them here. I'm going to take Tyler. I'm going to back the Mets in the first game on the money line as the play. For the player prop in this game, Francisco Lindor, over 1.5 bases going up against Spencer Schwellenbach. Looking at the pitches we're going to see in this game, fastball, slider, and cutter, the most for Spencer. I was going to take Pete Alonso or Brandon Nimmo, but both those guys are really good against the fastball. Not so much against the secondary pitches like the slider and the cutter. Lindor has a pretty healthy mix of being good against all these pitches, 250-plus batting average against 2 of the 3. The slider's the one that I'm looking at the most in this game, though. He has a batting average of 321, with a 556 slug against that slider. That's the best hitter on the team against that pitch, best batting average and best slug percentage. He handles the fastball pretty well also, and he handles the cutter pretty well. I do think this is also the heart and soul of the team, so I'm going to take him have a big game in the first one. Over 1.5 bases as the play there. And let's go over to game number 2 between these two teams, and I had the game number 2 prop up the entire time for game number 1. Here's game number 1. Spencer Schwellenbach going up against Tyler McGill. We're going with Francisco Lindor against Spencer. My apologies. For the second game, we're going to be looking at the Braves and Mets again. I think the Mets take the first game, which means the Braves need to win this game, and I'm going to take the Braves to get the job done at home with Chris Sale going on the mound. I might have to take this minus 1.5 depending on what the line comes out, but I'm betting on Chris Sale going up against Luis Severino. Again, the Mets have not dropped the starting pitching in this game, so I'm just going to go off the rotation. It was McGill and Luis Severino for the next 2 upcoming pitchers, so I am going to go with that information. It could be different pitching, but really what this is I'm going to bet for Chris Sale. He's the Cy Young in the NL. He's coming into this game with a 2.38 ERA. He's given up less than 2 runs in 10 consecutive games. That goes back even further to the middle of July. He has gone 6+ innings in 8 consecutive games, and in his last game against the Reds, they did pull him a little bit early because they didn't want to waste him going in that series against the Mets that got rained out. But he did give up 2 runs in that game against the Reds, and he gave up a home run. But he's coming in with a 2.38 ERA, 1.01 WHIP. He has the best slider in baseball, and Lindor is really the only good guy for the Mets against that pitch. Everybody else kind of struggles against it. Luis Severino, if he is on the mound, he's going to try his best to keep the runs to a minimum, but he has given up 3+ runs in 3 consecutive games, including a game against the Braves in his last start, giving up 7 hits and 4 runs. I just don't see the Mets taking the second game with Chris Sale on the mound, so I'm going to take them to win the first one, lose the second one. Both these teams get in. Give me the Braves on the money line. I might take it. Braves minus 1.5, depending on what the line comes out at. For the player prop on the screen, can't touch anybody for the Mets because Chris Sale's going, so we're going to take Marcell Ozuna. Marcell Ozuna did not record a hit against the Royals in that series, but before that, he had a pretty long hitting streak for the Braves. He has been the best hitter all season long, coming in with a 304 batting average. And with the season on the line, most likely, if the Mets take the first game, I think he's going to be the guy to look at to have a big game. This is going to be a right-handed match for him. And against righties on the season, he's been great. 300 batting average, a 570 slug percentage, 34 home runs, and 21 doubles. We are going to see fastball, sweeper, sinker the most in this game out of Luis Severino. And against the fastball, Marcell Ozuna, 354 batting average, 600 slug percentage. Against the sweeper, he has the best run value on the team, 633 slug percentage against that pitch, 245 batting average, was the second best on the team. And finally, the sinker, 318 batting average, 508 slug percentage. He should dominate Luis Severino no matter what he throws at him. Give me the over 1.5 bases as the play there. Let's take a look at the recap. Mets money line, game number 1, Spencer Schwellenbach against Taylor McGill. Game number 2, Braves money line, Chris Sale against Luis Severino. Might take that minus 1.5 depending on what the line comes out at. Game number 1, Francisco Lindor over 1.5 base against Schwellenbach. And then Marcell Ozuna over 1.5 bases in game number 2, going up against Luis Severino. Should be some fun baseball to watch for the last couple games of the regular season. Guys, it's going to do it for the MLB picks and props for Monday, September 30th slate of games. If you guys enjoyed the content, please sure drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel below. See you guys next video, and thanks for watching.